So What? Take Action project by Troop 478. This is an informational video about the Girl Scout Journey book, So What? This book is all about food. Food doesn't just magically show up at supermarkets. It all comes from a farm. These farms are spread all across the world, and certain crops can be grown in certain areas due to the weather conditions.
Soil is a main component when it comes to growing food. The soil is where plants get nutrients, so it's essential that farms have nutrient-rich soil. There are artificial chemicals that farmers can utilize to ensure that the soil is suitable for plants, but organic farms use sustainable methods, such as composting and planting cover crops.
After the soil is filled with nutrients, the farmers will plant the crops. Technology can be utilized to plant the seeds and ensure they are in even rows. The crops must be nurtured and taken care of consistently. This is done by using safe herbicides, drip irrigation systems, or pesticides.
This step of the growing process varies depending on the crop, but it typically takes about 2 months to completely grow. After about 3 to 6 weeks, the planted crops are ready to be harvested. Each type of plant needs to be picked at a certain time and to mature.
Farmers take this into account and harvest the crops. The crops are stored to retain freshness until they are processed and packaged. Quality control specialists evaluate which crops are viable for transport to stores. The specialists sort through the food and take the good food to the trucks. The food is then transported to stores.
The food you eat comes from all around the world. Due to the different weather conditions and soil composition, certain crops thrive in certain areas. Texas has the ideal growing conditions for corn and wheat. California specializes in rice and tomatoes. Some of the main crops grown in Florida are oranges and peanuts.
It's estimated that each meal of the U.S. travels 1,500 miles to get to our plates. In order to keep it fresh for a longer time, they use irrigation, genetic modification, and preservatives to do this. Take an apple, for example. They start off being grown in California in an orchard, then harvested, then washed, polished, and buffed, while the ones with the wormholes are removed and thrown away or kept by the workers. The remainings are sorted by the size. The smaller ones are given to the farmer's market nearby, and the big ones are kept in the cold storage and later shipped to grocery stores.
As we mentioned before, irrigation, genetic modification, and preservatives are used to retain the freshness of food. This all negatively impacts the environment and the food you eat. These goods cannot be kept in a sterile environment, meaning that the products being delivered are contaminated and harmful to your body. Not only are the distances that food travels from farm to market important, but the mode of transportation also has a large effect on how much pollution is generated. For example, importing food by airplane results in far greater emissions of greenhouse gases than imports by ship. Although there are some exceptions, in most cases, locally produced food proves the best choice for minimize global warming and other pollutants. By buying local, it means that your food isn't traveling long distances by planes, trains, trucks, and ships, which all consume energy and spew pollution that contributes to global warming and unhealthy air quality.
Supermarket food is often filled with GMOs and preservatives, which can be potentially detrimental to your body. Purchasing food from farmers markets is not only good for the environment, but for your body as well. The food from farmers markets comes from organic farms, which uses sustainable methods to grow and nurture their crops. The farms are also very close, so retaining freshness can be done without harmful chemicals.
The average American family wastes about $2,275 of food in the trash annually. However, there are some restaurants that donate food to minimize food waste.
For example, Panera, KFC, and Olive Garden. Panera's day-end donation policy ensures that food doesn't go to waste. Since all the food at Panera is baked fresh every day, there's a lot of food that could go to waste. The bread that hasn't been sold at the end of the day is donated to local churches and charities. Numerous restaurants ensure that food doesn't go to waste by enforcing these policies in all of their locations.
How can you help?
Well, you can start by helping by visiting your local's farmers market and by planting and storing food. Farmers market. You can buy from local farmers markets, and the food found at the farmers market is a lot more fresh and healthy. Why do you ask? Well, if you bought from a large food distributor such as Walmart, then your food would have likely been processed, thus making your food not as fresh. The food from farmers markets is fresher, healthier, and even cheaper if the certain food is grown in season.
Buying from farmers markets are better for the environment. First of all, selling locally sourced and bought food reduces pollution involved in the growing and manufacturing and transporting of food. Another good idea is donating your food just like what Panera does with their bread. A good way to do this is to provide donated untouched food that would have otherwise gone to waste to those who would not have a steady food supply.
Reduce your portions. You can reduce your dinner portions as well so that the food doesn't go to waste. Don't buy in bulk. Store leftovers in glass storage containers for both personal and environmental benefit. You can also freeze food.
Thank you for watching.